Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Gaming News, where we discuss all things within the gaming industry. And today we're going to talk a bit about 343 Industries, the people behind Halo. We are going to talk about Twitch. We are going to talk about Blizzard, at least very briefly, and then we're going to talk about the massive bombshell that dropped today about EVGA and their breaking partnership with NVIDIA. So we're going to cover all of that in today's video. And we're going to start at 343 Industries. Now, maybe you have come across the tweet from Bonnie Ross herself on Twitter on September 12th, which states, "While I had hoped to stay with Halo until we release the winter update, I am letting you know that I will be leaving 343 and attending to a family medical issue. I am incredibly proud of the work everyone at 343 Industries has done with Halo Infinite, the Master Chief Collection, the Halo television series, and so much more. It has been an honor to serve alongside the team for the last 15 years and to be a part of the universe that I love. Thank you to everyone in the Halo community for your support. Halo's future is bright. I cannot wait for all of you to experience what we have in store and to cheer alongside you as a fan at the Halo World Championship in October." Now, of course, there were some articles that covered the departure. This was very big news, obviously, in gaming. And we can look at Games Industry Biz that covered the tweet in a little bit more detail that maybe people didn't know about. Like in a post shared, she had hoped to stay until the winter update, but that she would be leaving to attend a medical issue. She added, "It has been an honor to serve alongside the team for the last 14 years and to be part of a universe that I love." Now, Windows Central also reported that she's not just leaving the Halo universe, that she is also leaving her post at Xbox as well. And the statement taken from the article is, "After more than 28 years in gaming at Microsoft, including 15 years leading 343 Industries and Halo through its most ambitious steps forward, Bonnie Ross will be leaving Microsoft and spending more time with her family," a quote she shared to Windows Central. Further, the outlet reports that 343 Industries head of production Pierre Hines will step into the role of studio head effective immediately. Two new roles have also been created: General Manager of Franchise and Business and Operations Lead, which will be filled by Brian Koski and Elizabeth Van Wyck, respectively. Now, of course, Windows Central did cover this as well in detail, and here it says that Bonnie Ross worked within Microsoft's games business for the better part of 3 decades, working on franchises like Gears of War, Alan Wake, and even third-party publishing deals on titles like Jade Empire and Mass Effect. Most famously, she took the reins at 343 Industries after pitching her vision for Halo against a Microsoft corporate climate that felt as though the franchise was in decline. Both before and after the creation of 343 Industries, Ross and her team collaborated to ship several acclaimed Halo products, including Halo 3 ODST, Halo Reach, Halo Anniversary, Halo Spartan Assault and Strike, and Halo Wars 2. Now, obviously, this is a huge loss for 343, but it's kind of interesting to me because there was also another thing that popped up about Halo specifically right around the same time. And that is an article that was posted only about a day ago that says that the Master Chief Collection microtransaction plans are ditched. So I wonder if they saw that there was massive backlash with the video game from the fan base for a multitude of reasons, and I expect that this may have been one of those reasons that there was a massive backlash. So they're introducing Spartan points, or maybe Spartan points are already part of the game. I don't know. I don't play Halo. I'm sorry. Spartan points are the currency in Halo the Master Chief Collection used to unlock cosmetics. You have to actually play the game to earn them, but back in June, 343 Industries announced it was considering making them purchasable. The justification was cloaked in benevolence. It was to be an optional alternative for players who might find the vast scope of content to be an intimidating amount of playtime and want to get ahead on or skip the grind, or maybe they want to grab specific items. It's true that the Master Chief Collection has a load of cosmetic items, including armor effects, voices, weapon skins, and more, but if you consider playing Halo so toilsome that you'd prefer to pay to earn those in-game spoils, here's the bad news. I guess Halo Master Chief Collection is definitely not getting purchasable Spartan points, 343 announced today. That's probably comforting news for existing Halo players who are proud to have earned their in-game garb the hard way. So, in one sense, you're not necessarily going to be able to skip the grind to be able to get some of these things. You'll have to actually play the game, which is ultimately what most game developers want to hear. But at the same time, you're going to make things more interesting for people who don't want to do that and have to actually invest the time in playing the game to get those things. And so they'll be more meaningful for the people who already have those things. And that, of course, is not the only issue when it comes to microtransactions, as we know. Now, none of this is happening until November, with today's update just reaffirming those plans. We are also looking to enact changes to earn the Spartan points and remove barriers that players have been facing. The 100-point cap is being removed. Retroactive points will be granted, and we will be making further adjustments to challenges to make them more rewarding, along with bringing back double XP weekends, 343 writes. So, it does seem like they are going to give people more opportunity to get those in-game cosmetics that they're looking for in a way that isn't going to force people to grind massively. I'm curious to know how you feel about the news of Bonnie leaving and then microtransactions being ditched out of the Master Chief Collection. But I'm curious to hear what you think about the topic. And with that, we'll move along to our next topic of discussion. And that, of course, is Twitch. Now, any of you that are streaming on Twitch in any capacity may have seen an important tweet from the 12th, and that is this, that creators in 117 countries now have their payout threshold cut in half from 100 minimum for the payout to $50 minimum, and there is a large list of countries that are included, including Canada, although the United States is not yet there. Now, that obviously rolled out on the 15th, so obviously it's not going to happen until the next pay period, and there will be more countries being added, so they wanted to slowly roll it out and make sure that people who really needed it would have this opportunity, and that it would still come to other countries as time moved forward. And so this is good because obviously it means you can get money faster. It means you don't have to worry as much about the fact that you're not quite at the threshold. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. And this goes into more detail about what countries see that lower threshold, and that you can change whether or not you want direct deposit. If you wanted to go through PayPal or something like that, there is information about that here. But while this is good for creators to get their money faster when it comes to streaming, especially for the affiliates, the thing here is that people are forgetting there are fees. So Zach Bussey obviously posted a picture of the breakdown, how much is taken out depending on where you get your money sent. So if you have direct deposit, if you're in the United States, you will have 25 cents taken off for direct deposit. If you are not in the US, that's $5 US, which in Canada is like $7 or $8, maybe a little bit more right off the top. So if you're looking at, you get $50, now you're looking at almost a little more than $40 after this has been taken off if you're direct deposit. If it's paper check, it's $3 US, regardless of if you're in the United States or not. If it's a wire transfer, because obviously it has to go through more, that's $11 for a US citizen and $20 if you're not based in the US. So if you don't have an alternate way to receive that money, you don't necessarily want to take out your $50 because then you've only really gained 30. And that's just in US currency. That's not switching it to whatever currency you have in your country. And if you go through PayPal, it's 75 cents in the US, and it's 2% of transactions up to $20, and then plus 50 cents above that $20. So if you go to transfer the whole thing, you're still gonna be paying what, $6-7 roughly to transfer to PayPal immediately. So the point that Zach Bussey made on his stream was that if you're going to get these payouts as an affiliate, to actually let the money sit for a little bit longer, wait for the second month to come around, get paid a second time, and then it will be more worthwhile to transfer that money because you'll lose more if you transfer it right away. And that's not including the PayPal fee that comes if you're going from PayPal to your bank account. So not only are you losing a bit of money when Twitch pays out in whatever way that they pay out, but then if you're moving from PayPal into a bank account, you'll also lose a little bit more money that way. And unfortunately, Canada doesn't have any other option other than it and direct deposit when it comes to this kind of thing. So even though you get your money faster, you're going to lose more of it if you start transferring it over. So just be mindful of that fact before you jump for joy about this decision, because $100, while it was a little bit longer to get to, it was more financially viable in the long run because of those fees that get taken off depending on which platform you go through. So let me know how you feel about this. If you knew that the fees would cut a lot more into your payout, if you think this is good or if it's helpful to you in any way, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And with that, we're going to cover Activision. Now, we're not going to cover this in great deal, but I did stumble across a tweet, and then I stumbled across a news article about Activision Blizzard and things going on there that I wanted to bring to your attention. So the first thing is a tweet that I came across, And this tweet is from a Better ABK, the workers alliance that was set up for people who obviously needed a union, but Blizzard and Activision kept putting a stop to these union efforts and were very clearly anti-union in a lot of cases. And this tweet says, "Thank you to the Freedom of Information Act for having Activision provide pay bans for Raven Software when they were trying to bust Game Workers Alliance. We've done a lot of peer-to-peer reviews and are using this data to promote equitable compensation and transparency." And what this is about is obviously Raven Software QA testers did a lot of work with obviously Activision Blizzard. And in fact, a lot of those QA personnel ended up being laid off, I believe, from the company and just ended up in this massive situation where, once again, a union would be incredibly helpful, but because Blizzard didn't recognize unions, that they didn't have to pay out anything. So to be able to see the salary range from minimum to maximum for industry standards was probably very significant when it came to sticking it to Activision Blizzard. But that's not the only thing that I have to talk about when it comes to Activision Blizzard. PC Gamer published again about a day ago that they're going to explain why the Overwatch 2 new heroes are going to be locked behind the Battle Pass because they're the single most engaging content. So let's take a look at what this article says here. Overwatch 2 will lock heroes behind its Battle Pass, but doing so won't interfere with the game's strategic, team-based battles, Blizzard said in a group interview with PC Gamer. And this, of course, sparked a lot of outrage that now people have to go into the game and progress through the Battle Pass in order to access these characters. And if you know that Overwatch generally had a large selection of heroes that you could choose to go into battle with, and that you could freely swap between the heroes in order to change the way the game progressed and maybe put everything in your favor instead of in the opposing team's favor. And to lock heroes behind a battle pass or a paywall essentially means that people aren't necessarily going to have all of the heroes that they would need to counter different things. So it obviously caused a lot of backlash. So starting with Kiriko, the newest support character, every new character in the game will be locked behind tier 55 out of 80 tiers of the 9-week battle pass. And they said, "We do want you to play the game regularly during the season to get there," Spectre said, and added that those regular players can get the hero for free well before the season ends. Buying the $10 premium battle pass with 1,000 Overwatch coins, which is a new currency, will grant instant access to Kiriko. And all new heroes won't be available in the game's ranked competitive mode for the first 2 weeks of each season. So at least they're giving the opportunity for people to get those heroes before they can be brought into competitive play. But that isn't necessarily a good thing. That is quite far in the season pass. You have to play a significant amount to get there, because I'm not sure what the experience breakdown is for that game. Now, with this whole situation, the article continues with, when asked about why Blizzard is putting heroes in the Battle Pass in the first place, Overwatch's general manager, Walter Kong, said, "Well, heroes are the single most engaging content that we have in the game, and as we designed this model, it seemed to be a very strong fit to put those heroes into our new engagement systems." And In a way, that's not wrong if you have all of the characters all of the time and it is a free-to-play game, essentially. Then a lot of games have moved to a battle pass scenario, but it also means that, you can just pick up, play for a few matches every now and then, and leave again, and it doesn't necessarily have a lot of player retention. So I can understand why they would want to do this, but at the same time, the type of game that it is kind of not helpful for the player base, and you really want to find a solution that will appease not only the business but also your players, because ultimately if you put something behind something too difficult, you're going to lose your players, and you already have a terrible reputation as it is. Now, the article does continue into separate sections about Overwatch 2, and one of the points made in here is that Overwatch 2 is designed around the fact that not everyone will own every hero. Keller explained that the game has been tweaked to reduce the amount of hard counters that Overwatch has, thus reducing the need to have certain heroes available to counter specific strategies. Blizzard wants players to have more freedom in what hero they're choosing for any particular situation. But the thing is that what made Overwatch unique was the fact that you could switch heroes on the fly. There are a lot of games that have a similar design where you pick your hero or your champion at the beginning of the match, and that's it. For the whole duration of the match, that's what you've got. You need to know that character inside and out. And if for some reason you're in a group where someone else picks one of your regular played characters, you're then forced into learning a new character. With Overwatch, you could at least switch between the characters that you are playing. So it gives you the opportunity to step into groups without fear of not being the one type of character that you always play. So I don't know. I don't play the game really, so I don't know how that comes off from a player perspective, but that's just kind of how I'm thinking about it. Now, Overwatch 2 doesn't come out for another month-ish, and when it launches on October 4th, the original game will completely disappear, which is another point of contention that people have talked about. All of the work, all of the cosmetics, what happens to any of the items that you've earned in the base Overwatch, and will you be able to have some kind of thing on your profile? Like, what really happens here? The sequel, despite being built on the game with 6 years of history, is trying to differentiate itself from what came before. Well, if you put characters behind a paywall and inside a battle pass and make it very difficult to get there, and you see that people aren't really character swapping and that's not really relevant to the game anymore, then you've essentially taken away what made Overwatch unique in the first place. And I think that it speaks more to the reputation and the changing of hands that Activision Blizzard is going through at the moment than it does the game balance itself. But again, that's merely speculation on my part. It's just, again, sort of where I'm thinking. And Keller briefly spoke about the original game's history and the changes Blizzard made that weren't always universally loved. Well, of course, you're going to constantly change things to try and make things better, but not all of the community is going to take the changes well. And we all know that Blizzard listens to their players so well when it comes to their IPs. Anyways, Keller said, "We're always trying to make the game better for our players. Overwatch 2's shift to a 5-person team wasn't an arbitrary decision," he said. "It was made to fix issues that Blizzard had with the original game. And so I understand where players are coming from, and we sympathize with all of them, but we would just love to reiterate the point that we take it very seriously. We engage in a lot of discussions on our team, and our highest value is to always be making the game better for the majority of players. Now, I get that you're going to say something like that, and it does come off as a very PR'd statement, but the fact of the matter here is I don't know how well people are going to take Overwatch 2 with everything that has happened, with everything that is happening, and with this battle pass. I don't know that it's going to be enough to really keep the fan base of Overwatch to the game. You're still going to have a lot of people who will go to the game, absolutely, 100%. But I don't feel as though it's going to be the biggest winner that Activision Blizzard might be looking for. Because this was supposed to be really its saving grace, because all of the other IPs are not doing what they had hoped. So, I don't know, that's just where I'm thinking, where I have gone in this thought process, but I'd love to know what you think about Activision Blizzard and the changes to Overwatch, and if you like the fact that heroes are now going to be put behind the battle pass. If you're interested in playing, just let me know. I'm very curious. And with that, we're going to cover the last thing of the day, which is EVGA. Now, earlier in the day, as I was preparing for this video, I came across a tweet and, of course, a YouTube video, and it's an interesting situation. Let me just say. So, I first stumbled across this tweet from Gamers Nexus at 3 p.m., which states that EVGA terminates relationship with NVIDIA, ceases all video card manufacturing on grounds of disrespectful treatment, among other things. Employees told they will be taken care of, but we don't see how all the jobs will persist ad infinitum. And of course, they link their video, which I will put in the description below if you haven't watched this. It's a very interesting discussion and interview with the folks at EVGA. And if you want a more detailed breakdown of what all is happening with the situation, I highly recommend that you watch this video. But also released was Jay's 2 cents video on the matter. This I have not yet watched, but suffice it to say, these are the two top dogs next to something like Linus Tech Tips, which is also very worthwhile to keep an eye on if you're in the gaming tech space where you're looking for these high-end PCs and keeping up with the trends. Having information like this is kind of important to know. So, I have an article here that shows that EVGA abandons the GPU market, reportedly citing conflicts with NVIDIA. Now, some of this is, of course, explained in the videos by Jay's 2 cents and Gamers Nexus. And there are quotes, obviously, from it saying that we are not going to be on NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang's lap on stage, so I don't want people to speculate what's going on when we're not there. Gamers Nexus Steve Burke quotes Han as saying, EVGA has decided not to carry the next gen. Now, there's obviously a lot more stated in the two videos, and this obviously is synthesized from those videos, but the bulk of what is needed from these videos, if you want a TLDR of the entire situation, I found this little screenshot, which I believe is also used in Gamers Nexus video, where it states EVGA will cease all video card manufacturing operations. Existing customers will remain supported by EVGA's warranties. EVGA has withheld inventory to help replace and fulfill cards as needed. EVGA expects to run out of RTX 30 series video cards by the end of this year. EVGA is staying in business. They are not selling their business. They will not expand into new product categories. NVIDIA was notified back in April of 2022, and EVGA has thus far not entertained the idea of Intel or AMD partnership. Now, this may change. Obviously, this is still developing. As you watch the two videos, you will note that the Gamer Nexus video, Steve Burke talks about how this was top secret until the video was released today. So obviously, due to embargo and NDA contracts, they were not allowed to release information up until this point. And I think that their video does a really good job of encapsulating what has happened and questions that should be asked, really good questions that should be asked. And really, this is scratching the surface. I'm sure they have a lot more information about the details surrounding the issues with EVGA and NVIDIA. So time will only tell what will happen with this, but you have to consider that NVIDIA partnership with EVGA was about 70% of their business. And though they have stated that they are comfortable as a company and that they will not be going under or going bankrupt, ideally, that there's still a lot to be said in the fact that you are just going to end a partnership that comprises the bulk of your business earnings. So I am a little bit nervous about what happens to EVGA moving forward, but they wouldn't be successful if they didn't know the market and didn't understand what people were looking for. And I'm sure that they'll pivot in a way that makes sense, but we don't know at this point what that will be. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the whole EVGA situation, if you feel like they will bounce back from this or not. Just let me know what you're thinking, and if you watch those videos, let me know your impressions, what you get from them. But with that, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for being part of the Patreon. I release these videos every week, and after a few days put them publicly on YouTube so that other people can check them out. I have a Discord channel where you can discuss any and all of the topics that we have covered in these videos. I would love to hear your thoughts, and if you have suggestions on topics you would like me to cover, let me know in Discord. You can find me on all social media. It is all linked below. I appreciate every single one of you being here every single week, and you have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.